This is the incredible story of force, fury, and faith. The story of Hurricane Hugo and how the people of South Carolina overcame it. Recovering from some of South Carolina's darkest hours, this is the story of bringing back the light. Saturday, September 9th, 1989. A group of thunderstorms form off the West African coast near Dakar, heading west across the Atlantic. By September 10th, the storm is upgraded to a tropical depression. It is the 11th tropical storm since the Atlantic hurricane season began on June 1st. It would be named Hugo. On Wednesday, September 13th, Tropical Storm Hugo is upgraded to full hurricane status, with winds gusting to 95 miles per hour. September 17th, Hugo strengthens to become a Category 4 hurricane, with winds to 133 miles per hour. It hits Guadeloupe, Antigua, Montserrat, and the Virgin Islands, killing 18 people and leaving thousands homeless. Monday, September 18th, brings the storm to Puerto Rico with 125 mile per hour winds. A 17-foot wall of water known as the storm surge destroys homes, businesses, and property, leaving 14 dead. It is the most powerful storm seen in the region in over a decade. The system is now approximately 1,100 miles from the South Carolina coast and moving northeast at 15 miles per hour. Its winds have slowed to Category 2 status, yet it continues to build intensity over open water. Hugo was on its way to becoming the storm of the century. Throughout the years, coastal Carolina has borne its share of nature's fury. Nearly 100 years earlier, a tremendous storm struck South Carolina, submerging all of the coastal islands in the Charleston area. It was the first recorded hurricane to strike the Grand Strand. It devastated plantation life and hastened the end to the Low Country's once thriving rice culture. Clara Barton, the first president of the American Red Cross, called it the hurricane and tidal wave of the Sea Islands. Others called it the killer hurricane of 1893. Then, on October 15th, 1954, Hurricane Hazel hit the mainland near Myrtle Beach. Classified a Category 3, Hurricane Hazel had winds up to 130 miles per hour, with storm tides cresting at 17 feet above normal. Property and crop damage, $163 million. Until Hugo, this was considered by many to be the worst storm ever to hit the Carolina coast. As Hurricane Hugo approaches, preparation efforts begin. Business and property owners begin boarding up, and people begin stocking up on water, gas, batteries, and non-perishable food items. Santee Cooper, the state-owned electric utility serving the people of South Carolina, begins making emergency orders of conductors, transformers, and poles as it becomes clear that we are going to be hit, and hit hard.
All of the schools have been canceled in our area for tomorrow and throughout the Low Country. Everyone is bracing for Hurricane Hugo.
Ladies and gentlemen, Charleston County is now under a state of emergency. It is anticipated that Hurricane Hugo will be in the Charleston area earlier than first reported.
At 6 a.m. Thursday, September 21st, the governor of South Carolina issues a mandatory evacuation order for the state beaches, affecting all 8 coastal counties. Hugo has been upgraded to a Category 3 hurricane as winds strengthen to 125 miles per hour.
Residents are being urged to evacuate their homes and mobile homes as soon as possible.
You no longer have a choice. You have been ordered to leave your home and seek shelter on higher ground elsewhere, preferably upstate.
We cannot express to you the seriousness of this situation. You need to get out while you have the time to do it, the chance to do it.
The eye of the storm is within 300 miles of the coast, with hurricane-force winds extending 200 miles from its center. Hugo is now expected to make landfall between Savannah, Georgia, and Wilmington, North Carolina, with a 65% probability of hitting Charleston, South Carolina.
The center of the projected path again has Charleston dead.
Oh boy,
dead center.
so we're dead to rights then in terms of the hurricane.
At 5:40 p.m., the system is again upgraded. It is now a Category 4 hurricane and predicted to be the worst storm seen in 30 years. It is a virtual certainty that it will hit the coast of South Carolina, somewhere just north of Charleston.
I personally did not expect it to get this strong. I thought it would be a Category 3 hurricane, but not reaching a Category 4.
Behind me, you can see the palm trees beginning to bow in the very high winds. This is no time to joke around, so do what officials are saying.
Night falls, and the lights stand bright against the incoming fury of wind and sea. This is a night no one will soon forget. At 10:20 p.m., Hugo makes landfall at the Isle of Palms north of Charleston with sustained winds of 135 miles per hour. Hurricane-force winds extend northward for 200 miles. Homes are lost, lives uprooted as the skies rip open, tearing across the landscape. For the first time in the history of Santee Cooper, there is a complete blackout as 2/3 of the state loses electrical power.
Matiba's out. SC&G, the favorite place tower's out. Jeffers to Pinewood, 115's out. Allen to we just got, the list just keeps growing right now.
Heavy control, Bobby.
The whole complex is out.
Whole complex.
Santee Cooper, Tommy. We just had a tree fall in our backyard and the line's down back here.
A tree down in the backyard in Pinopolis. Okay.
But I didn't know there was a transformer down there, but there was a ball of fire came out of it, lit the whole road up.
Okay, Dan.
I'm scared to death.
Yeah, this is a full force number 4 hurricane.
Yeah.
Class 4 hurricane.
This whole house holds together.
Hope it does. You know, things get bad, get in the bathroom and cover up with a mattress.
Well, I have to do something.
That's the strongest room in the house.
Well, we got it bad, both.
We got it bad, eh?
Yeah, we were just sitting inside, and it sounded like part of the roof peeled off the top, and the wind is picking up. It ain't dropping. It's
Right, yeah.
stronger.
Yeah.
And we got trees popping all over the place, so I know we taking some serious damage.
Okay, then.
Gary, can you ease out this way? We got a tree on top of the truck. We can try to drag and get out of this thing. These trees is falling in here like you would believe.
Because I don't think there's going to be anything left.
We have no generation on our system.
Okay.
We are absolutely dead.
All right.
I'm scared.
Don't be scared. Everybody else is out of power, too.
Scared, though.
The dawn of September 22nd brought a vision of destruction unseen in the history of South Carolina. Miles of coastline washed away. Homes simply disappeared. Acres upon acres of timberland crushed flat. Tourism, the state's second largest industry, stops dead. Lives, homes, and businesses, like straws in the wind, now lie scattered across the land as a massive recovery effort gets underway. On the night of the storm, it had become clear as Hugo marched inland from Charleston that Berkeley County and Moncks Corner would sustain a direct hit. This is home to the utility's nerve center and 3 of its major generating stations. The utility serves 89,000 retail customers, 15 electric cooperatives, 3 military bases, 30 industrial customers, and 2 municipalities. Moncks Corner is headquarters for the entire Santee Cooper electrical system.
The main fault we incurred that finally took us out was a large vent pipe blew off the roof, came across 2 phases from the startup transformer, and caused the unit to trip out. After we lost that unit, we eventually lost all power and was on our station battery during the remainder of the night.
As the night wore on, system controllers stood helplessly by and watched their indicators drop to 0 as transmission lines hit the ground and poles are torn from the earth.
We just kept watching the 230 lines go out and nothing we could do about it. As I saw how the transmission system began to fall apart, I knew that it was very devastating and there would be a lot of trees on the ground.
As we saw one distribution breaker and another go out, and one transmission line go out after another, we realized that the magnitude of the storm was about the worst that we had expected it could be.
In a desperate struggle to keep their customers online, controllers attempted to switch the load to alternate loop feeds and away from existing damaged lines.
6882 on local. All right, let's open the R switches on 6882 and place it on local and try closing at one time. Okay, hold on. Hold on, man. Nope. Won't do it. Okay. It'll close. It's showing breaker handle closed, but I didn't change the light, so it didn't close. Okay.
Unknown to them, the winds had already destroyed too many vital connections, causing the entire system to automatically shut down. At 2 a.m., Santee Cooper had no generation of its own available to its customers for the first time in its entire 50-year history. Ironically, it takes electric power to get the big generating plants online from what engineers refer to as a black start. With all the local stations shut down, they were faced with the problem of finding a power source for starting the huge turbine generators.
I got a call from Randy Wood, my electrical instrument supervisor, telling me that we had lost all power. The transmission lines were down and we had shut our units down and everything on the system was down. And that he was going to Myrtle Beach to our gas turbine to get a diesel generator started to get power back to the station.
At the beach there are 5 gas turbines over there. 3 of them are black start turbines. A black start means that you do not have to have any outside power coming in to power the unit up. It has its own excitation systems to allow you to come up on batteries and be able to put power on the line. So we went over not knowing what we would have, but went over and just did that.
Similar to an airplane turbine engine, it generates enough power during the lighting off phase of the startup to begin power generation at the station.
Unit operator over there that we dealt with, we just kept him on the phone and worked with him.
Randy's at the turbines, and he says that he thinks we can black start that number 5 over there. Okay, now we're ready. We can start that number 1. It's on gas, right?
Yeah. All right, better go there. I got a problem with this number 5 to live oil pump. All right. Hey, we're one on the line. All right, you got it? Fire out. Okay, we got it. Okay. Now, Virgil, don't load it up. Just hold it right where you got it.
From there, power is fed to the other generating stations and then, gradually, throughout the system.
I've been with Santee Cooper for 19 years, and this was probably the most frightening thing for me, and might have been the biggest challenge that I think I've ever faced. Sitting there in the Energy Control Center and starting up a unit on a black start and listening and helping coordinate our load and starting up the coal-fired unit there for the first time was really interesting, and it was a joy to see my people perform the way they did and starting the system up.
The first order of business is to get the electric utilities back on their feet. Without this vital service, water and sewer, communications, and other essential services simply do not work. A well-laid preparedness plan locks into action as standby utility crews arrive from neighboring states. Military help arrives to protect damaged areas, ensure public safety, and allow energy crews to work as efficiently as possible. The Red Cross and other volunteer services arrive, bringing food and water. At the Santee Cooper headquarters in Moncks Corner, workers literally have to chainsaw their way out to assess the damage and begin rebuilding. Early estimates report that much of the transmission system and nearly all of the distribution lines are dead on the ground.
Few people realize that we lost over 3,000 miles of distribution and transmission lines together. And of course, when you put that together, that reaches more than from the East Coast to the West Coast.
The major problem of restoration is threefold. First, simply getting to stricken areas through mud and debris so that damages could be assessed and priorities established. Second, rebuilding transmission and distribution lines and repairing substations. And finally, re-energizing the entire system. What happened here and what comes next is a story of unbending determination, perseverance, and round-the-clock organization. In the days that follow that nightmare evening, line crews, contract workers, engineers, and management will work incredible hours against the damage of Hugo. Santee Cooper line crews are out inspecting and assessing damage long before the winds of Hugo have subsided. By 5 a.m. Friday morning, crews with chainsaws have cleared the main access roads. The utility concentrates on restoring power to such vital services as water and sewer, city and county emergency operations, and persons who depend on electrically operated life support equipment. Full restoration to all Santee Cooper customers is expected to take at least a month. 75,000 of the system's 89,000 retail customers are in the Grand Strand area. Most are spared the full fury of the storm, yet there is considerable damage to the ocean front. For the moment, the utility doesn't have to worry about repairing lines to one 30-mile stretch of beach. Many of the homes no longer stand where they once did. Much of Pawleys Island is destroyed, yet efforts continue to restore power to the mainland rural areas. In Georgetown, South Carolina, winds topple about 75% of the city-owned distribution lines. Nearby, Santee Cooper's Wynya station suffers the most damage of any of the utility's generating plants with the destruction of cooling tower number 3.
We lost all of the fans on top of the tower, and all the stacks were just blown apart.
Just south, and even closer to the eye of the storm, are Charleston and Berkeley counties, two of the hardest hit areas. On Friday, September 22nd, the fleets come rolling in from Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina, and Florida. Convoys of bucket trucks, line trucks, material trucks and trailers bring much-needed equipment and supplies. In time, over 300 workers will arrive from surrounding states to help piece Santee Cooper's service area back together. The crews work relentlessly, day and night, sometimes by flashlight to get the job done. Some going as many as 36 hours on and 8 hours off.
This is the worst we've ever seen. We expected to spend a couple of nights and go back home. This is the 11th day.
I've seen some bad ones. I was a lineman in '64 when Dora came through. It was bad, but nothing like this here.
It is a war zone and a battle being fought between darkness and light. The crews surveying from the air have trouble finding the 100-foot rights-of-way that are normally cleared for high-power transmission lines. There is a rural area near the coast that the workers have nicknamed Cambodia. It is in these places that they fight the hardest, sometimes making progress line by line, pole by pole.
Yep, we worked ice storms, tornadoes, hurricanes. This is the worst one I've ever been on. I've been with Georgia Power 33 years.
It's so widespread, it's really overwhelming, you know, and we just take it a day at a time and pick up, restore service to the customers that we can each day.
It was pretty bad when we got down here, but things shaping up now, looking really well. Yeah.
Many of these areas are served by electrical co-ops. Of the 20 in South Carolina, 15 get their power from Santee Cooper. From its creation, the utility was established to generate power and light for these people. Support for the work crews is to create another problem for the staff and management of Santee Cooper. By Friday morning, 150 workers from Georgia Power have arrived to play their vital roles in getting the power back up. Food and shelter for them have to be provided. Logistical support comes from local restaurants hooked up to generators, enabling them to provide food for the line workers. Shelter is provided by area motels, churches, and gymnasiums. Getting laundry done for the large workforce becomes a major daily accomplishment for the employee volunteers. In some cases, area residents offer their homes and volunteer to do the workers' laundry. Others are put up at the utility's main office auditorium, the Employee Recreation Facility, and the Jeffries Generating Station, soon to be known as the Hydro Hilton. The men and women of Santee Cooper began working as never before to bring the system back to life. Many without power for their homes or families, they put their personal worries behind them for the benefit of their friends, neighbors, and communities.
I saw a very dedicated but tired group of employees. They had been working, some of them had been working 48 hours without leaving their job. Some of them hadn't talked with their wife or children except by telephone and word of mouth by messengers. They stayed on the job, and of course, they didn't know what was happening at their home and the destruction they were having personally. So I was just very, very impressed and thankful and grateful for our team that we have.
Job descriptions change as often as new challenges arrive.
In the last couple of days, we've done everything from picking up and distributing mattresses for incoming line crews from other states to working on chainsaw crews to clear right-of-way for the transmission lines. And, of course, 4-year degree to pump gas.
We've seen the auditor helping out, clean up the upstairs operations center. We've seen engineers that are normally inside, outside running chainsaws, working with their people that are out in the field. They've been out there with them.
The job of putting a grid back together requires a very well thought out and methodical plan.
It was like someone took a giant jigsaw puzzle, throwed it on the floor, and you just had to start from square one. You had to pick the pieces out, you had to make the pieces fit, and you had to try to put every piece in so it would fit and make it work out together. I had to try to figure out how many men I needed and try to figure out where to get them from. Try to get this distribution system back on.
To restore power, to bring back the light, over 800 miles of transmission lines have to be repaired or restrung. These are high-voltage superhighways that bring power to various regions throughout the state. Some carry as much as 250,000 volts. Once these main arteries are back, the crews go to work putting up over 1,500 miles of damaged distribution lines, restoring power outward to homes and businesses. Within the first 12 hours after the storm, patches of light begin to show on the landscape. These first small victories fuel the workers onward.
We were in Pawleys Island the first day we got there, and this girl rode up and asked George, she said, is my power back on yet? And George said, as long as you don't live at the end of this street. And the girl started crying. She was so happy that her power was back on. And, you know, I get chill bumps just thinking about that because you know that those people are looking up, and every time they come home and they see a Santee Cooper truck in their yard, their eyes would get so big. And that's what it's all about for us. Our adrenaline's been flowing, and we get people's power back on. And we could just go right on. We can work 24 hours a day.
And all the crews, as far as I know, putting out 100% to get the customer back on. And you just get a little bit of enjoyment, especially, you know, people have been out of power for 3 days, 4 days now. So it makes your heart flutter, pump a little faster when you get a customer back on. And 90% of the time we've gotten the lights back on, the customers, a lot of them have come by and thanked us and thanked the crews and stuff. So it's been real enjoyable work. Real house.
Last crew that came in, they said they were going to quit about 8 o'clock, and they cut some power on into an area that hadn't had power, and people just come out and hug them and just tell them how thankful they were, and people were crying because they had power. And he just said they were so excited, they decided to work on a couple more hours and try to put a few more customers on.
You're doing the service. You're doing the service, and that's what it's all about.
2 days after the storm, many areas have at least some power. With gas stations, grocery, and hardware stores open, the long recovery can begin in earnest. On Monday the 25th, most of the central business district in Moncks Corner is energized. By Wednesday the 27th, full power is returned to the Berkeley Electric Cooperative and the cities of Georgetown, Conway, and Loris. The list begins to grow. Charleston Naval Base, Charleston Air Force Base, the Myrtle Beach Air Force Base, Alumax, and Jim Walter Metals. On the 29th, Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach show at 100%, with 75% of the power having been restored to Litchfield Beach, Pawleys Island, and Murrells Inlet.
When I came in last Sunday and started work on this, if you had told me that we would have all but 8 of our cooperative stations back online 7 days later, I would have said you were crazy, just flat out crazy. But we've done it. I think things have gone remarkably well. A lot of hard work by a lot of folks. Couldn't have been done without a lot of cooperation between both Santee Cooper and the cooperatives.
On Saturday the 30th, only 10% of residential customers remain without power as St. Stephen receives power for the first time. On Sunday, the figure is down to 5%.
We didn't have any idea that we would be able to accomplish or get as far as we have
I think this is the 9th day, and we've done tremendously well, I think.
Wednesday, October 4th, brings full power to all of the electrical cooperatives that the utility serves. All 230 distribution points are fully operational.
We put up a lot of lines, turn on a heap of lights.
I spoke to the gentleman here from Santee Cooper about it, that there were some sick people over there, and I think we'll appreciate it very much if we could help them out. And certainly the next day they had light.
Everybody was glad because they could, they didn't have to barbecue on their grills anymore, so everybody's out cheering, and then everybody, the whole neighborhood, everybody immediately back into their house and were taking showers and using their blow dryers and all the things they couldn't use for about 5 days.
If the other customers are like I am, I sure was glad when my lights came back on.
Since all of the utility's large industrial customers operate directly off main transmission lines, they are able to resume operations quickly. For the working men and women in this area, there will be no loss of jobs due to the intrusion of the hurricane.
The Alumax people have been extraordinary in responding to this particular emergency. All personnel, all of our 630 employees were maintained on the payroll throughout the time of rebuilding and since the day of the storm. In addition to that, we're most impressed with the very nature of the employee that works here, and in fact with all of the South Carolinians that we have worked with and around in this emergency.
Alumax, the aluminum plant just 12 miles from Santee Cooper in Moncks Corner, is the utility's largest industrial customer.
I think the spirit of the people is unquestionably the strongest impression I've gained from the storm, and certainly in watching South Carolina grow from this event, I hope it's something that can be maintained in the long term.
At 9:36 p.m. on Thursday the 5th, the announcement comes. The lights are back on. The pronouncement of full power restoration comes after the Amoco Chemical Company near Charleston is energized. It is the last customer to have power fully restored following completion of repairs to one heavily damaged section of transmission line.
I've been surprised myself how rapidly we've been able to come back. And that's because people have been working 24 hours a day and giving it a real extra effort to get these people back in service.
And as the people work and people wait, a spirit comes across the land. Though there is much sadness, there is also joy. The great joy that comes from helping others.
You really don't have appreciation for a disaster like this, and especially the outpouring of help after a disaster until you experience it. It's tremendous, and it's moving.
We're getting involved because we saw the need.
Just working together as, neighbors. I really think it's, a blessing, and I'm very thankful.
It is the people themselves who offer the greatest hope of recovery in the region. As they return to their homes, many find nothing, and others, more fortunate, generously share what Hugo has left them.
I'm grateful and I'm thankful for everybody that give and everything from all over the world. We appreciate it very much from the depth of our hearts.
It's been like of embracing of each other and a needing of each other, and knowing that there is strength in that kind of support, and knowing that, that we can be blown upright again, and that our lives can be strengthened out of this tragedy.
It is 2 weeks to the day since Hugo slammed into the South Carolina coast and delivered the most devastating blow ever experienced by Santee Cooper and the state of South Carolina. Although the area has been hit with the mightiest storm in a century, it soon becomes clear that an even greater surge of power is coming from the people of South Carolina.
People of this community have really done a beautiful job. They've worked together. Everybody's helped each other, and things are shaping up, and we're going to pull out of it.
We made it with the help of neighbors and stuff. I think everybody really pulled together and made it a lot easier for everybody else. It made a big difference.
Yeah, I used to say this was paradise, but it's vanished for a while. But I think we're going to get it back with a lot of hard work, and I think this community in Panopolis can do that.
And as power floods through the lines and into the lives of the people, it is that surge of power that is most remarkable. But more importantly, it is a time of people helping people.
We've had stuff coming in every day from churches all over the southeast, and it's just been a really tremendous outpouring from the churches in the Piedmont, North Carolina, Georgia, and all over sending food in. What we're trying to do is bring it in here to the First Baptist and get it out into the outlying areas where the need is really great.
People pulling together.
Yes.
People pull together up here like I've never seen before. It's amazing.
It was hands that reached out to help, hearts that cared so deeply, and men and women who gave up so much for others. It had indeed been the worst of times, and yet the best of times. A combination of destruction and renewal. A triumph of the human spirit over the fury of a storm. Of light over darkness.
The lights stayed on for a long time at night, but then they went off at 12 o'clock. I looked outside and all my trees were just gone. Nothing was there. It was just pure plain.
My grandfather's trailer, there's this tree standing right here, the power line, like that. And it was just crushing it. I mean, the power line was down like that.
And when we woke up, we thought we would take a walk, and we did. And we saw power lines all over the road. And we walked to my aunts and my grandmama's to see if they were okay.
I got home, I looked at the house, it was leaning over, and I got scared. I thought the house was going to turn over and pop loose.
I have a Nintendo game. I was so worried that I was only going to be able to play Nintendo or watch my TV for a long time, because I love watching TV.
Yeah. It was scary too, because I had to sleep with no light. Usually I need a night light.
At night, when we didn't have electricity, we put candles everywhere. Had to eat with 2 candles at the table. They put the power lines up. They put the power lines up when we had electric.
My dad was so happy. He would run around the house a couple of times.
Yeah, I watched my movies and I took a bath and I ate a little bit. Most of the time I ate. They got a long thing on the back of it. It's got a big pipe, and it goes up with the man in that little bucket. When the lights came back on, his hat stopped. They look like men. They haven't changed on. They have big yellow hats.
When the lights came on, I was happy. I was happy because I had a night light and I had electricity to take a bath and keep it warm.
Well, it made me feel safe that my friends were okay, and Beth was okay, and April, and all my friends. I'm glad that the power came on and the lights.
It just makes you feel good, or it does me, to know that people are willing to work like this together in a time of need.
The fact that we got light, and light was brought back to us, not only helped in the restoration of property, but in morale in general. People could see what was going on and have light in their homes. And
we're going to come out a better Moncks Corner, I guarantee it.
It really was phenomenal. Everybody just jumped in and everybody did whatever they could do.
But the one thing that it has proven to me is that this company can pull together and work. They're willing and able to work to serve the needs of the public. That's what we're here for.
I saw one large group of dedicated people that I knew was right on top of the situation. And that's the message that's coming back to me. The letters that I receive the thanks from the industrial customers and from all of our customers and all the people, the dedication of the employees and what they did. And there's just no way, there's no way in the world that I can express my thanks enough to the employees. I've written them. There was no task too small, and no employee was too big to do whatever had to be done to get the job done. And I'll never forget that.